Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Leader in You podcast. My name is Polina, and I co host this amazing podcast with Dr. Lola Gershfeld.
Hi, Polina. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. And it is a gloomy day where I'm at in Orange County. It's pouring rain. But yeah, did you hear?
Wow, isn't it sunny in Florida?
I love the rain, so I absolutely am enjoying. I think this is like the first full like actual rain. It's like pouring rain here since we moved here. So I love this weather and it's like perfect, I think, for recording podcast. So I'm so excited to be here. We were talking about this study that I recently read. So I thought this would be a great topic to talk about on today's podcast. So in 1938, so I'll give you a little bit of the background about it. And actually, I love seeing this kind of stuff on social media because I feel like it reiterates the importance of how relationships are really vital to our survival. And no matter what, in business or out of business, we need to learn how to have those deep connected relationships to stay thriving in this world. So I'll read the preface of the article and then, I love when you talk about the science because I think that's so important to really understanding how our brains are actually wired. So I'll hand it over to you to talk about the science. So in 1938, researchers at Harvard began something no one had ever attempted to follow people across their entire lives. So, decade after decade, through wars, marriages, illnesses, and revolutions, they tracked more than 2,000 men and women, collecting blood tests, brain scans, and stories. 85 years later, it remains the longest scientific study of human life ever conducted. And through all the data, one truth emerged with stunning clarity. The secret to a good life is not what most of us are taught to chase. Okay, so the Harvard study on happiness. It started with 724 men, young men, grew to include their wives, children, and grandchildren. So more than 2,000 people in total. It's lasted now over 85 years. They did like videotape, questionnaire interviews, doctored records, brain scans. What they found, well, I mean, you could probably take a guess. The study's most powerful finding is the most important factor in determining your happiness in life is the quality of your relationships. So it also says from Dr. Robert Waldinger, the chief research director, who's done several TED Talks actually at Harvard, he said in the early years of the research, we didn't really believe that warm relationships could protect the heart and mind until accumulating evidence forced this point. So it showed that individuals with strong and supportive relationships exhibit significantly lower rates of chronic diseases, including cardiovascular issues, diabetes, arthritis, general experience, improved physical and mental health. They found to be happier, physically healthier, and they live longer. Quality is key, not quantity. So it's not the number of people in your life that you're connected with that matters, but the ones that you are closely connected with on an emotional level. Individuals in high conflict or loveless relationships suffered worse health than even those who divorced early. Living in the midst of conflict is really bad for our health, perhaps even worse than getting divorced. And then they also said individuals who reported the highest satisfaction with their relationship at age 50 were found to be the healthiest at age 80. It included better cholesterol levels, IQ, or even better genetics. Isn't that amazing?
It is very amazing. I love the study. And I remember reading
Yes.
about it, and it makes sense because when we have connected relationships, everything becomes easier for us to do. And
Did you read this study?
I remember, yeah, I remember something about I think provide regular updates about this study. And they go back to the same thing,
Mm,
quality of the relationships that really help people to make you fit, fit for life. This is what Carl Rogers
yeah.
talked about, the Carl Rogers, who was a humanistic theorist, who talked about that
Mm-hmm.
we want to create relationships that will help you to be fit for life. He called it existential,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole lot more than dealing just with stress. You want to thrive in the world. It's when you have quality relationships, you are fit for life. You know how to deal with stress. Stress becomes manageable. You know how to deal with conflicts. In fact, Calco Glasser, she did a study on putting suction cups on people's hands and creating these
Mm-hmm.
wounds. And she said that people who had good relationships and had disconnections, they healed faster. People who did not have good
Mm-hmm.
relationships and had conflicts, they didn't heal. Their wounds would, heal longer, because if you don't have a good relationship, your immune system is all down, so it's not able to really pay attention to your healing process. Your whole system is wired for looking at this threat in your relationship, and it's only paying attention, to the dragon that is coming at them. So definitely, if the immune system gets better, you become much more engaged and happier and healthier when you have good relationships.
So it also says that memories of a happy childhood were found to be a lifelong source of strength and resilience. The warmth of childhood relationships with fathers correlated with lower rates of adult anxiety, greater joy in life, and increased life satisfaction at age 75. Warm childhood relationships with mothers were associated with higher peak salaries, an average of 87,000 more per year, and greater effectiveness at work and professional lives. Conversely, individuals with poor childhood relationships with their mothers were much more likely to develop dementia in an old age.
Wow, that is very interesting. I think childhood plays a big role. Yeah, especially childhood memories. That they give us a sense of security in life.
Mm-hmm.
You watch a mother in the airport. I mean, I was in the airport not too long ago, and you watch a mother with a baby, and the
Mm-hmm.
baby is crying, and the mother is on the phone, busy reading, and the baby is crying, and the mother says, "What? What?" without even looking at the baby, and
Mm-hmm.
she's still on the phone, and the baby is trying to make all kinds of different voices, so the mother just picks up the bottle and gives it to her without even looking at the baby, and
Yeah.
the baby grabs the bottle, and like the bottle falls, and then the baby is just stares in just space, and the mother
Mm-hmm.
says, "Well, that's better." Right? The baby stopped crying without even looking at the baby. She's still
Aw.
on the phone. So I mean, you just have this urge saying, no, no, it's not better. The baby is trying to soothe herself, to shutting her emotions down. This is not good. This is
Mm-hmm.
not going to have a good sense of relationship with the baby. And then you watch
Mm-hmm.
another mother. I'm thinking about you. You are always so patient with your kids, and the baby is making this noise, is crying, and the mother is busy, and she's trying to attend to the flight attendant and the flight desk. They say, "Ma'am, I need your passport," and the mother says, "Just a minute, please." She gets
Mm-hmm.
down to the baby. She looks at the baby. She said, "Oh, you miss your bear. Here's your bear. Here's your baby bear." And she makes this connection with the baby, saying, "I'm here. I'm here. Everything is going to be okay." And the baby soothes. The baby
That's great.
cries, and she knows that the mother will be there for her. That, the key attachment question is, are you there for me? And the mother goes down, and just like you with all your children, you go down and say, "Here, I'm here." What's going on? It's gonna be okay. And then she goes back to the to her things. So you definitely hit a point in saying that childhood memories and how we deal with stress and our caregivers gives us that sense of connection and safety in the world and how we can continue to form our relationships in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that just the process that you created that are, that the EMC process that's used in different teams, we also call it this present-based process. And I think we were talking about this on our last podcast because it's the same thing. Like if you think about motherhood and you have children, I think the biggest, you know, I even want to say failure, but I want to say like one of the biggest mistakes that parents do is that they're not present with their children, when their child needs them, if they are struggling in some way. And also in moments that their child is happy or experiencing positive emotions. So I like that correlation because I feel like it's so important to bring us back to the present, to have this present-based process to really connect. And I mean, it even takes me back to when I was teaching yoga and practicing yoga because yoga is also a very present-based process, right? We want to focus on our breath while we take the practice so that you could be presently focused on your breath because we are so in this society, we're just so used to thinking about our past and then how that's going to show up in our future or what our future is or what we have to do or what we didn't do right or we need to change doing. So we're like either stuck in the past or stuck in the future. But like this process really brings us back to being in the present, in the moment that someone is really struggling or having a difficult time, that we're able to help them presently with their feelings so that they feel relief, a sense of relief, a sense of support, and also they get that connection that, yeah, do you have my back? The answer is yes. Are you there for me? The answer is yes. Am I valid in my feelings? Or my feelings valid? The answer is yes. And all those things create that secure attachment. And it's so interesting. I want to add just one more thing. Like even before I learned this process and started really integrating it, or maybe I would say like I was always able to stay calm because I had practiced yoga for so long, but it was like the support of re-engaging, and being, I like to call a recovered withdrawer, where you are still able to be calm, but you're not shut down or withdrawn emotionally. And you can be calm and engage still emotionally in a way to help the people around you to regulate their feelings and also to be able to express themselves in a safe way and then to express yourself as well. So, and I love that. It just goes back to, ultimately the goal is to be happy, right? Ultimately, people want to make money because they feel like that achievement is going to create happiness for them. It's going to create an easier life. And ultimately, everyone just wants that happiness, you know?
It is true. I love what you're saying. It's so important to have this present process and present moment, to be in the present moment. It's hard for people to know this because if you never experienced it, or if you don't know how it looks and what it feels like, how would you know how to create it? Right. So
Hmm.
this is the difficulty for people to know. And I think when people have moments when they can experience it, whether with their parents or with their teachers or in the workplace, they're with their bosses, where they suddenly feel like, wow, I feel valued by this person. And even though
Hmm.
I'm their direct report, they make me feel like I'm on the same page. And also I feel heard and I feel important. Like yesterday, I got a call from this lady and she said, I'm on this team. I was transferred to this team. I'm trying to understand how to connect with my team and I'm missing it. I feel so alone and isolated. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for people when they don't have the process. And I agree. What I like about this process is there's a template. There's a step by
Mm-hmm.
step process where you can express what is your experience without feeling inadequate. You can respond to the other person. You know how to respond, how to be there for this person in the present moment. So this definitely helps us to have that experience, and the
But
t-
also how amazing that people, it's so difficult for people to correlate, and I'm just looking back at this article, it's so difficult for people to correlate that when we are in high conflict situations and we're not resolved with those situations or we're not reconnected with those conflicts, it affects our physical health. So that's another, and if you think about it this way, most people are spending 40 to 50 years of their life working, right? So the majority of your life is going to be spent working out of, let's say, 100, or I would say 80 years, for example, or 70 years, and then they're retired, right? So it's like you have 40 years of work. If you're in constant conflicts, in that workplace environment, you don't know how, and you're constantly feeling stuck, then how is that an environment that's going to create happiness for you? You know, how is that environment? Well, that's what happens is it doesn't. And then you get these physical health issues. You have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, you have diabetes, you have dementia, you have all these physical issues that people are not even correlating the importance of our emotional well-being and the closeness of our relationships with what is going on with our physical health. Even when I was working with some of my clients when I had the yoga studios and I was teaching people how to lose weight, they would plateau. Like you can lose weight by changing your eating lifestyle and your juicing and your, eating no gluten, no sugar, and but then you get to a point where if your body's not making the shift and the change compared to your emotional well-being of your relationships, there's only so much you can go. You're still going to get trapped in the same cycle of either eating to deal with emotions or whatever habits that you have had to begin with that your body's responding to on a physical level with the lack of connection in your relationships.
yeah, and research shows attachment. This is why I like the attachment theories because it provides us a framework on how to, first of all, how to identify what's wrong with the relationship, how to notice, how to become aware of the disconnections, and then
Mm.
why these disconnections occur and why do people get stuck in conflict, and then how to fix it. What do we need to create that connection? Like you were saying, that it's hard for people to know that just resolving content in a conflict is not enough. You have to feel also connected after the conflict. And
Yeah.
you have to feel, in a way, you have to feel that the other person heard you, validated you, reassured you, accepted your experience, and you did for the other person. So it's both people
Hmm.
have to feel, not just understand, but they have to feel that you really care about them, that they're important to you, and you're important to
Hmm.
them. Until and that is attachment. That's why
Yeah.
attachment works so well. It's like every time people do the session using this attachment framework, we expect change. We expect change with every single experience, right? With every single conversation, and those changes last because
Yeah.
the relationship becomes stronger when you can share your vulnerability in this way.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Well, what's exciting is that for those of you who are listening, you don't have to just be feeling stuck and like you don't know what to do because I do hear that a lot where people are just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just stuck. I don't know where to go from here. Well, now you have a process and a way to get you unstuck, to get you from a place of feeling, like maybe you don't have hope. Maybe you feel like this is just the norm. This is just what you're just going to have to settle with. This is just what you're going to have to live with. This is the relationships and the connections that are going to happen. That's it. You don't have to feel that way anymore because we have the process that works and it's 100% guaranteed. And, you know, so excited too to bring this process and this conversation to the ATD Org Dev Conference that is happening next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I think. Is that correct?
Yep.
So we're going to be there in Texas speaking at the panel discussion. Also, we're going to be talking about how to navigate difficult conversations. And of course, we will be recording our podcast from there as well. And we'll probably bringing you the podcast every single day, just like we did last ATD conference. But we wanted to make this podcast quick and just a reminder that there's hope and we have a process that works. And if you're out there feeling stuck at your work, and you don't know what to do, and conflict after conflict is occurring, and you're just like, feeling hopeless, maybe depressed, maybe a lot of anxiety, we're here to help you get unstuck and to work through those conflicts to create an environment that's thriving for you and for your workplace and for your entire team. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Dr. Lola, as always.
Thank you, Polina. This was kind of quick and fun. I really like that what you're saying, to remind people you don't have to be stuck. There is a way to learn this process. Relationships are important to you. And if you want a happy life, learn how to fix and nurture your relationships.
Yep, and we're here to teach you, so you don't have to guess along the way. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week at the ATD Org Dev Conference. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's a joy to share these podcasts with you. Be sure to check out our previous podcasts and subscribe to join us at our next podcast of The Leader in You, brought to you by EmC Leaders, taking care of the teams you care about. Until then, be well and be focused on your relationships. We'll see you soon.